So many, many years ago, I was known affectionately as Gina the Genie. I was part of this North America-wide expansion team growing a magic company, and my role was to manage and train both professional adult magicians as well as the amateur kid magicians. And so the way that I saw my role was something like this. I would take what was a blank slate for them in terms of how they saw themselves as magicians, and I would provide exercises, energizers, examples to inspire within them the opportunity to draw pictures for themselves about how they saw themselves as magicians. And then ultimately the goal was for them to have enough magic and inspiration within themselves to start to color in those pictures and create what would be their signature style as magicians. The reason I share this story is I'm going to attempt in this video to clarify for you probably the number one question that I get at Project Passion, which has, for over 2 decades has been the number one thing that people are wondering for themselves. And it's actually the inspiration for Project Passion, because when I left my job as a journalist, I was trying to figure out for myself, now what am I going to do with my life? What's my purpose? What's my passion? What's my calling? So I think the most important place to start is to ask better questions. And if you followed any of my work, I always say that I'm not the guru. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to frame the questions so that it gives you more clarity so that you can come to the answers yourself. And so where we begin is by getting really clear about what a calling is and what it isn't. We've been misled. And I see this so much in the younger generation who are trying to figure out, what to do in college and what to do in university and what job to take. We've been misled to believe that a calling is something that leads you to your career or leads you to a job. We believe that a calling is an action, but it's less an action and more of an essence. You see, if you look at the word calling, like you as an energetic being, we are all energy. We're invited to this life school. We were called for a reason, and that is to express our unique signature style, our unique gift, the way that we energetically show up as our most authentic selves. It's effortless. You don't have to try at this. It's just who you are. And so our calling is who we are when we're at our best. Let me tell you a little story. My son's 13 years old, and a couple of months ago I said to him, hey, over the next year, I want you to start considering some part-time jobs that you might want to get. Because by the time I was your age, I had a few part-time jobs already. And in fact, probably in my whole life, I've had like 50 jobs or something. And so, it's about time that you get started. And of course, he rolled his eyes because, well, he's 13. And he challenged me, and so we actually sat down with a piece of paper and wrote down all the jobs that I had had, and I was surprised to find out that there were 47 jobs up until this point in my life that I've had, and it's pretty crazy when I look at them. I mean, I've done everything. I flipped pizzas, I washed hair at a hair salon, I managed a spa, I opened a dance studio, taught dance, journalist, worked in a call center, managed an electronics store, which if you know anything about me in electronics is like crazy. I worked in a shoe company, managed a woman's boutique. I did marketing for Motorola. I'm an author. I host a global summit, corporate training. Oh, I know I'm missing a million things. I've done so many different things. And here's the thing. When I look back at every single job, from managing a bookstore to selling shoes, I notice a common theme when I am in my most authentic energy, when I'm most Gina, is every single time it was just like the example I gave at the beginning with the magic company. It was always about having conversations with people and asking them questions to ignite within them a deeper sense of themselves, a deeper sense of their magic. So it didn't matter if I was selling shoes. I remember washing a woman's hair at the hair salon. I was like 15 or 16 years old, asking her questions about, her passion and things that she loved to do. And we got so engrossed in the conversation, I let go of the hose and it sprayed everywhere. And it was such a memorable moment. But you could take me essentially out of my life right now and drop me into any other job. I could be a barista at Starbucks. I could be a grocery store clerk. I've done that too. I could be mopping floors or emptying waste paper baskets at a corporate office. And lo and behold, I would find myself guaranteed engaged in conversations with people about their passion, about what excites them, what ignites them, why they're here, because that's my calling. That's who I am. And when I'm in my best self, when I'm mostly Gina, That's how I serve my calling, is by being that voice, whether it's in my writing, whether it's in my speaking. Now, having said that, there are some jobs that better leverage my calling. So being a writer, being a speaker, it does support my calling. However, like I said, push came to shove and I did anything else, I would find myself in those conversations, because I could be at the bank, this happens all the time, or at the grocery store, or getting coffee in line, and I will be having these conversations with people. So it doesn't matter what I do, it's how I show up. It's the energy with which I bring my best self into the world. It doesn't mean that I'm always like that, because I'm not always in the space of answering my calling. Sometimes I'm tired or cranky or stressed or overwhelmed. But when I'm in my best energy, that's how I show up. And that's how you know it's your calling. Here's one little caveat that I want to offer you, is I want you to consider that oftentimes with our gifts, and this is true for me, this very recently came to my life, is our purpose and our calling are often so natural to us, comes so naturally that we don't even recognize it as a calling, because we think everybody can do it. And that's why it's very helpful to have someone close to you and ask them these questions. What am I doing when I'm lit up? What am I doing that comes really natural? Maybe you find that you're a great listener and people, even strangers, want to tell you their stories and tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. Maybe you just bring humor and light to people's lives just naturally. You just find a way to infuse joy and laughter into people's lives. Maybe you're the person who takes like these really complex things and can simplify it so that people feel more at ease. Start to ask people that you care about and you trust, what are the things that you do at your best and you do all the time, and maybe you're not even aware of them. One more thing I want you to consider is, if you take someone like Oprah Winfrey, clearly she has a calling. But if Oprah was born like 30 years before the television was invented, or even 30 years from today, the action or how she shows up in the world, it would look different than the Oprah Winfrey Show. But the essence, the energy of who she is would be the same, because that's her calling. And the same is true of Michael Jordan. It might not have been basketball if basketball hadn't been invented, but who he is, the essence of his energy, his determination, his spirit, whatever that is how he would show up. It would just show up in another form. And so this is how we start to tease apart your calling as something that you do, as opposed to the energy that you bring to the table, the energy that you bring to a space when you're in your most you-ness, when you're in your most natural space, when it's the highest part of you in that space. That's who you are. And so hopefully that provides a little bit more clarity, some better questions, so that you can ask yourself and start to ask other people, who am I when I'm in my most authentic me space? Who am I in that space? And look back over your life at all the places where you can see that you were the most lit up, the most comfortable, and look for some common themes, and that will guide you to your calling. So let me know what insights you have. I'd love you to comment, to share, and thank you so much for your time. Mwah. Hope that's helpful. Bye for now.